So I finally got hit yesterday. I mean, we talk about it, and I feel it, certainly in the wallet. But yesterday, for some reason, I had this come to Jesus moment. And when I went to pay, or I went to pull up to the pump, and I saw $4.89, man, I tell you, I was ripping. I was legitimately ticked off. So I pull up, because usually there's a gas station near this station. I'm usually here, till 2 o'clock some days. If in the middle of the day, if I'm here for that long, I'll take a ride down to the gas station. Usually buy a couple of apples, put some gas in the car or a truck, and come back and finish whatever it is that I got to finish. Whatever. Sometimes I do that. And yesterday I happened to be doing that. I had to pull up to the pump, and the place is great. I love that place. It's a nice little grocery store. Guy inside who runs it's phenomenal. And I pull up and I'm like, what? And it just like it hit me at once. $4.89. And I'm like, $4.89 for a gallon of gas. It's twice as expensive now to drive as it was when Joe Biden took over. Now, I know my liberal progressive friends, it's not Joe's fault. Nothing's Joe's fault. He's fabulous. He's the greatest president we've ever had. Greatest family man, most educated, most eloquent as far as a speaker goes. Fabulous. Guy's fabulous. We should all give him a round of applause every chance we can. What he's done for the country has been just absolutely magnificent. So as I roll up to the pump for the $4.89, I go inside, buy a couple apples, and the bill for what I buy. I bought a couple dog biscuits because we got a dog who comes to the studio, stays in the studio pretty much, and he basically suckers me into giving him treats every day. But that was almost twice as expensive as it was prior. And so when I wring out my 2 apples and the dog biscuits, it's like over $5, and I'm like, we used to be like 2, or 3. I'm like, what is going on? And so I had like a 20. I said put the rest in the gas tank. And I thought to myself, so I just gave the guy $20. Essentially, I got like a box of dollar treats for a dog, a couple of apples, and I'm gonna get 3 gallons of gas for that $20. Are you kidding me? 3 gallons of gas. I'm going to be able to drive 30 miles, 35 miles on my $20 bill and have a couple of apples. You got to be, this is an absolute disgrace what has happened. A disgrace. You should be so angry. Every time you go to buy something, every time you go to pay for something, every time a bill comes in the mail, you should be incensed, furious as to what's happened to this country in the last year and a half. Furious. And if ever you thought about voting a different way, and I never stump for anybody, ever. It's not my nature. I bring people on who want to come on. If you're a Democrat, you want to come on, I swear to you, I'll treat you with the exact same respect I treat the Republicans. But you don't want to come on because you don't want to answer any of the questions. Fine. Courtney, Bloomey, Murphy, any of the other ones who are running state Senate, state reps, you're Democrats, you want to come on and talk to a different audience, I'm more than happy to have you in here. Now, I'm going to ask you to explain a couple things, but that's fine. I'll treat you, I promise you, with complete respect, but you won't come in. You don't get anywhere near the studio. First of all, because you don't think you're reaching anybody, which means that you don't care about the constituents that you actually have, which is pathetic. There are some who do. I give some credit. But then again, even the ones that I give credit to, a lot of times they only come out of their hiding place when it's election time, then they disappear again. But those of you listening to me right now who are not furious about what it costs every day to live your life on the meager amounts of sustenance that you probably have now. I mean, I'm sick. I'm furious, right? I'm so mad about this because I've been talking about this for the better part of a couple of months. About I'm sure most of you are exactly in the same way. Just keep eating away at your savings. Keep eating away at your savings and getting less and paying more every day. Every day. And it's not my fault. But what's interesting is a lot of you out there, and again, I go down this road one more time, it's your fault because you voted for these folks. You didn't like Trump, or you didn't like X, Y, and Z, or you didn't like the last person who ran against Courtney or whomever. You liked the status quo, or you liked the idea of getting Orange Man out for the new regime. Put America last. And now you're getting what you wanted. And some of you, I'm sure, are very happy about $5 gallons of gas. I'm not making that up. Those of you who have some means are loving this because you're seeing other folks struggle. And they're not going to be able to drive as much. And that is a consequence. I always talk about unintended consequences. The idea that you can't drive as much is an intended consequence. They meant for this to happen. They want to restrict your freedom. This is part of it. This is part of this grand plan. Of course they want complete green energy. We all know that. Conservatives, somewhere along the line, should want green energy when it's viable and it works. And it doesn't cost the country its economy, its economic system, because that's what's happening. Yeah, of course Joe Biden wants $5 gallons of gas. He may say otherwise, but he loves this. They all love it. You think AOC is not smiling ear to ear? I've talked about this. Obama talked about this. They're on record. They like high gas prices because you're going to be forced into a different form of energy, or you can't drive. Energy is the key component to what makes this economy, any economy, run. Because it directly affects the price of everything, right? So all the goods and services take a hit. Certainly, I mean, it just makes sense if you got to take those apples that I talked about and deliver them from wherever the hell they're from, like Costa Rica or something. Somewhere along the line, they get on a truck and they're driven to Connecticut. Well, the truck is obviously paying twice as much for gas. So the bottom line is going to be skewed and changed. I mean, are we this dumb? Have we just or have we become just pathetically apathetic? Pathetically apathetic, yeah. I'm not talking to the majority of the folks listening to me because I know you are most of you are absolute, true blue, red, white, and blue American patriots, depending upon the definition of patriot. But other folks out there, either they sit on their hands, do nothing, or they welcome some of this stuff. And there's a report going around that Democrats are saying, well, if you don't like the high price of gas, go buy an electric car. With what? With what? And by the way, just tell me where the energy comes from when you charge up your electric car. Please, somebody tell me. Is it just a magical electric bolt that is running underground somewhere? It's just so frustrating. And you should be, again, most of you out there who are listening to me now should be furious. You should be absolutely furious. Furious with everyone and anyone who's associated with this debacle, this cataclysmic decline in our standard of living in the last 18 months. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, there's a horde, the biggest horde of immigrants are making their way up from Mexico. Thousands more are coming. And they will be welcomed with open arms. And they'll be given things that you can't get, including baby formula, by the way. That's absolutely true. Their kids will get baby formula. Your kids will not. Now, I'm not saying their kids should be in any way, shape, or form harmed. That's not the point. This is, and I came to this conclusion weeks ago, maybe months ago. This is planned. This is not by accident. This is not stupidity. This is actually incredibly cunning, what they've done. This was planned out. From COVID to now, it was planned. They took, whether you believe they manufactured COVID and unleashed COVID, which I don't, but they took COVID. They took the Wuhan flu and they used it brilliantly. And from the time prior to the 2020 election, or the year before that, until this very second of this very day, it has been an absolute free fall. Not only in your standard of living, but also in your personal liberties and freedom. A free fall. They've taken it all. They're taking it all away from you, right in front of your eyes. Busy show. We'll come back, me and you again for another 20. Bob Lazari will be first. Tony D, Bruce Flax, Liz Corrado, it's Kevin Allen, and a pack. Stick around.